Hey, HR friends, welcome back. We're in the 3-7 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about day six. Day six is right here in this white rectangle. Now, as always, we start about talking about the unseen pattern of these polarity moments or this electromagnetic sequence. And we talk about this from an emotional standpoint. Why? Because this is a sentient space-time reality. And because we figured out the math of this space-time reality, we were able to map out this electromagnetic sequence. Now, this sequence is literally the organized pattern of chaos. And we say that because when this pattern elevates, what it does is it actually activates our defensive design. You see, every single thing on this earth has a defensive mechanism hardwired into its existence. And when that mechanism is engaged, it's going to try to convince us to do one of two things: run away or ignore our problems, or stand up and fight for our problems in ways that make them worse. Now, both of those things just add stress into your life. If you avoid your problems, you're going to add stress. If you make bigger problems, then of course you're going to add stress. Now, knowing when this unseen pattern is going to elevate, and especially if it elevates above a four, if it gets above a four, that's really going to start to agitate our design. And what that's going to do is it's going to start to manipulate your choices without you being aware of it. Now, it's so important that we share this with people because we are in a space-time construct. We understand the objective of this construct, and the first part of the objective is to overcome your defensive design. You see, if you don't realize this pattern's happening and it takes advantage of you, it manipulates you, and that's how we make the accurate predictions that we do at healthreconnected.com. Now, day six is a very, very high alert day, and you can see why. So we're going to start out by talking about first person agitation. And in the previous posts, we've talked about a mental polarity flip, and that's what's keeping this elevation right here. Now, we all have mental rhythms, emotional rhythms, and physical rhythms that help regulate the functions of our bodies. Okay. In this mental polarity flip, well, that's really going to start to mess with our decision making process. And this has been going on now for quite some time. And it's going to go into day six, and then you see this jump up here. What's happening is a dual mental flip, and then there's going to be an emotional polarity flip that happens at the same time. And that's really going to set things off here. Now, in the past, when we've had mental and emotional flips happening simultaneously, this is when we see unpleasant events in society, like shootings go up, mass shootings specifically. Now, the other thing that you're going to notice is because in space time reality, everything's interconnected. So when we become more agitated and when we become more aggressive, so does our environment. Now, if you want to go back months in time, you can see that we talked about when we got to August 6th. Okay. When we get to August 6th, it's going to be when the wheels fall off again. Why? Because we're going to have a lot of polarity moments happening. We're going to have dual mental, dual emotional polarity flips, and this is going to coincide with weather events. This is going to coincide with the bigger picture events that are going on as well, like what's happening in the Middle East and how that's starting to ramp up. Now, super important we share this with people because we can't make any changes unless individuals start to overcome this pattern on their own. Right now, collectively, this pattern is guiding everything that's happening. It's a predetermined fate, and because we're designed to be defensive in nature, it's a predetermined negative fate. Now, what we're trying to help you understand is how to make it a predetermined positive fate. Now, to make things positive, we have to be aware of when these moments are coming, and then we have to be able to work through those moments in constructive, cooperative ways. Super, super important. So, again, first person is going to be the biggest challenge in day six and through the rest of this sequence. So for the next 36 hours, first person agitations. Now, that's the agitations you're going to have with all the people that you have in your daily life, your family, your friends, your coworkers, the people you see in your community. Really, really be patient with them and understand they're going through this too. Okay. So be very cautious that you don't make things worse and be helpful if someone's having problems. Try to help them resolve those problems so that they don't make it worse for themselves and it doesn't contribute to any of the other people that they influence. All right. Now, the good news is this: third person, these are the agitations that get under our skin. This has to do with the bigger picture. This is what we as individuals want to see happen in the bigger picture. And no two individual wants the same thing to happen. Okay. We all have different ideas of what would be great, and we end up arguing about them. Now, the good news is this: there's not going to be a ton of that going on, at least not until we get to the end of this 36-hour period that's coming. And then it's going to flip flop, and this is going to become the primary focus. And then first person's going to lay back down. You'll see when we get to the 4-8. Okay. Now, we're going to just briefly talk about the combined. This is the easiest one to know. And like I said, 4 is the number we worry about. And when we get here, you can see for the first 12 hours, we're dancing up and down at 4. In the second 12 hours, we're well above a 4, and it's going to stay above a 4 after this period for another 4 days, consecutive days. Okay. So super, super important. Stay as calm as you can and pay attention to the news, pay attention to the weather. You're going to see as this goes up and holds, those events are also going to amplify. And this is what we need you to see. Why? Because once you understand that you're in a space time construct and what we're supposed to be doing is just getting along with our team. What do I mean? So this is the objective. When you break this math down, what it does is it creates 4 perspectives that are interconnected, okay? And we all come from families, right? So this is easy to understand. And the world is nothing but interconnected families. Now, problem is we're not so interconnected anymore. Because of our defensive design, we've really kind of disassociated with one another. And what we've done is we've overinvested in our own individual and family strategies, which makes sense from a defensive perspective. You see, a defensive perspective is going to be, well, I need to strategize and I need to have resources and I need to make sure that the future generations that we create are going to have an easier future or a leg up. Okay. Now, if everybody starts to do that and starts to compete for resources and starts to compete, then what's going to happen is this: there's going to start to be tension at the larger level. Well, why? Well, because no two families really see the larger level the same way. They might be similar, but there are always going to be opinions, and that's exactly what's happening here. We have all these different opinions of what should be happening, and instead of getting along and cooperating and coming up with solutions that help us all, we're fighting over the ones that we think are the most important, and the people that have the most resources right now, well, they're the ones that are really fighting this out. Okay, so now what? So now that we know we all come from the same math, and now that we know why we're out of balance here because of our defensive design, what is it we're supposed to be doing? Well, this is what we're supposed to be doing. It doesn't matter if you're a younger member of the team or an older member of the team. What we should be doing is every member of the team should be balancing their routine on a day-to-day basis, and this is how you can know if it's balanced. So, on a day-to-day basis, we should be trying to not only help our family ensure that it's got a better future, but it should also ensure that every other family we share this world with will also have a better future. So if your routine and what you invest in is not only helping your family, but every other family, then you're doing the objective. Same thing here at the individual level. When you invest in your individual self, if you're not investing in a way that helps every other individual the same as you, then you're out of balance with the objective. If you are doing that, then you're in perfect balance with the objective. At the national level, we should all be contributing to our nations. And we should not only be contributing to our nations, but we should be aware that every nation needs to contribute and we all need to have equal balanced nations in order to create an equal balanced world. Now, if we do that, we complete the objective of this simulated experience. Sentient space time reality is literally a test. And that's what we're in here, okay? We're in a mental and emotional test, and it's seeing if we can overcome our defensive design, if we can balance together, get along together, and if we do that, there's huge rewards. Now, the immediate rewards are this. Once you decide to commit to the team and once you decide to balance your routine, you will be in alignment with these governing frequencies. Now, the governing frequencies are connected to the quadrants of your body. We exist, our bodies exist because of these frequencies. Now, as long as you're in balance with the teammates on the left side and you're in balance with your routines on the right side in these quadrants, then your quadrants will be perfectly healthy. If you're not balanced with your teammates, or if you're not balancing your routine in a way that leaves this world an equal, fair, and balanced place, then you're out of balance with these governing frequencies. Now, whichever ones you're out of balance with, that's where your body's going to take damage. You see, frequency is pretty simple. You're either in frequency or you're out of it. Now, there can be variations. You can be very close to being in perfect frequency, or you could be very far away from it, and you could be anywhere in between. But the more out of balance you are, the more damage the quadrants of your body takes. The more imbalanced you are, the better your quadrants of your body are going to be. Now, if you can be in perfect balance, what you can do is you slow the aging process. You can stop disease states that are happening to those quadrants. And if you do it long enough, you can actually reverse them. Now, if you commit to this for the rest of your existence in this space time sentient reality, there is a reward. If you do this, you get out of this negative feedback loop and into a positive feedback loop. But the only way to do that is to commit to your team and to commit to balanced routines that leave this world a better place, not just for you and the people you care about, but everybody. Okay? It's that simple. Now, we talk about this on our website. We break this math down and we're going to show you that we can prove this to you. And that's what we do these 24-hour posts. So now that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the 24 hours zoomed in. So this is day 6. And what we do is we really want you to see when these electromagnetic peaks are going to come up, because I promise you, if you start using our live page, so for people that don't have good internet, we do all 24 time zone offsets. Come down here, you'd find your time zone offset. Once you have the proper offset, this aligns the times, it holds for 10 seconds, and you would screenshot this with your phone so you would have reference all day long if you don't have good internet. Now, if you've got great internet all day long, you go to our homepage, health3connected.com. We've got a live feed that's got a time bar that literally goes through this sequence. And I'm telling you, I was just playing video games with my friends before I was doing this post tonight. And we got to an electromagnetic peak, and the games got a little bit tough, and everybody said, okay, I'm done, I'm out here. That's how accurate this is. You'll see that when people start to act defensive, run away from their problems, or get upset and want to argue between themselves, we are going to be in these elevated peaks. And once you see this, you're going to realize when you thought you were making conscious choice, what was really happening is your defensive design and this unseen pattern of chaos was directing you to make more stress, avoid your stress, which accelerates aging, accelerates disease, and makes everything tougher for you in the future. In that immediate moment, it tricks you into thinking this is what I need to do. But in the long term, what it's really doing is it's seeding your suffering. All right, so this next 24 hours is going to be high alert, especially in first person perspectives because of that mental polarity flip. And then you see right here, it does the dual mental. And then here, the emotional is going to kick in. So by the end of this sequence, so in the second 12 hours, it's going to be even tougher. All right, so I'm in the Eastern time zone. We're going to be sleeping through this first 12 hours. Tomorrow, when we get up, this is going to be a challenging day come tomorrow for Eastern time zone. Now, obviously, this is different depending on where you live in the world. I'm trying to help you understand how important this second 12-hour sequence is going to be. All right, so let's transition into alignments now. Now, alignments are super simple. So here's the good news. There's hardly any alignments or testing going on. Now, when a testing happens, and just be aware of this, we are always being tested 24/7. The only thing we're being tested on is how well we get along with our teammates and how balanced our routines are. But there are moments in time when two frequencies perfectly align and they create an amplified moment. And this moment lets us show you. So if something happens at this exact time and it affects the left lower quadrant of your body, this is how we can prove to you we're in a sentient space-time reality. Now, this isn't a great day to prove that because this isn't a very strong alignment. If it was strong, it'd be way up here, and it's pretty short in duration, okay? Now, if you happen to have some increased pain or some increased digestive dysfunction that goes on during this time, that would be a direct hit. And what it's telling you is this has to do with teammates on the blue side. On the purple side, that has to do with routines. Now, this orange color has to do with younger teammates. How are you getting along with the males and females, the younger teammates that are learning about how they're going to be part of the team and what they're going to contribute to the team and how they're going to balance their routine? Now, for younger individuals, it's also how do you get along with other younger individuals? So this is all about cooperation. This is all about relationship. And if you struggle with younger members of the team, people that are still in that maturing phase, then you're going to feel stuff in the left lower quadrant. All right, so this is easy today. We're not going to spend a lot of time. Alignments aren't much to talk about. Now, when we talk about the frequencies that are going to test us, these are the four quadrants, these are the frequencies, and if you're out of balance with these frequencies, these are the quadrants that are going to affect in your body. And if you have more than four frequencies at a time in your quadrant, well, that's a pretty heavy test load. And you can see that left upper quadrant, it's not so busy. It's under a 4. The right upper quadrant, however, is at a 4 and above it. The left lower quadrant is above a 4 and then at a 4. And then the right lower quadrant, that's kind of like this upper left. It's below the 4 the whole time. So that means right upper is going to have a little bit more test load. And this means that left lower is going to have more test load. Now, you can actually see it here when we look at the macro charts. These charts show you where the 10 strongest frequencies are. Now, these frequencies sit in place. There's lots of other smaller frequencies. They're dancing all over the place. These hold for this 24-hour period of time. And look at, if we look at the right side, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right, and then we've got 1, 2, 3 on the bottom left here. So those were the exact ones that we said were going to be the heavier test load today. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to use these charts to know if you're having trouble with your teammates or you're having trouble with your routine. So you see how there's only one macro sitting on the left side on the first person. So if you get left-sided pain that goes on for 24 hours, if this whole 24 hours you get something in this left upper quadrant, you know darn well that it's a teammate that you're having issues with, and it's the mature teammates, the mothers and the fathers, okay? Because there's nothing going on over here in the third person, and that's if it goes on for the whole 24 hours. So if you get right lower quadrant pain this 24-hour period, that means you're out of balance with your routine. You see how there's no strong frequency over here on the first person? So those two are easy. If you get left upper or right lower, we know what it is. Now, in all the other quadrants, there's overlap. And because there's that overlap, it's important that you document what you feel, when you feel it, how long you feel it for, and we can help you tease that out. Now, don't overcomplicate this. In simplicity, right? It doesn't matter. You know what you got to do. You got to get along with every single person like they're part of your family. You got to treat them with respect. You got to cooperate. If you're not doing that, part of your body's going to hurt. Then you also know this, you got to balance your routines. If you're not balancing the routines so that the future generations are going to have a better experience than we did, then you're out of balance too. So in the beginning, people are going to want to know where to start just because, well, I'd want to get better as fast as possible and I'd want to have a strategy to know what I should focus on first. Our software will help you do that. We explain how to use the software. We'll walk you through this. You'll see exactly what this is, exactly what you have to do. All right, so that's a pretty good idea what you're going to see here. And again, this next 36 hours, just be very cautious as far as how you react to people. All right, now at the end here, we always just talk about, hey, we've already posted everything for the rest of this year. You see the unseen pattern of chaos for the rest of this year, and every single time things go a little topsy-turvy, or every single time the weather ramps up, or when the bigger picture, when nations start to go into warring states, you're going to reference this chart and go, holy smokes, we're right on time, right on schedule. Now, it's predetermined. Just like our genetics are quote unquote predetermined. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to suffer. If you want to take the time and do the work and stop reacting defensively, it immediately helps you. And the more people we get doing this, the more we can help our world and we can actually start to reduce and limit the amount of conflict. We can also reduce the damage that's coming from all of these natural disasters we're being forced to experience. All right, that's it for today. We'll see you in the next 24 hours, and we're going to be talking about the last 12 hours before we flip over and the wheels fall off the bus. When the 4-8 comes, it's coming with exclamation points. Get ready. We'll talk to you soon.